censorship policies. So also it was a very new industry. We had very few sort of magazines. So whatever you did got noticed, had a lot of impact. And I think that at that time there were a lot of young people coming from having studied abroad, and suddenly, there were young people who had done design, fashion, photography, styling. So you had people like Rizwan Beg, Tariq Amin, a lot of creative new people coming in, wanting to kind of experiment and going against tradition, going against their families' expectations, and coming into this field. So I think it was a very creative, very vibrant time, and it was actually using fashion as a means of protest, as a means of kind of challenging what we saw happening in Pakistan.
Fashion is, it's like trying to understand art. Not everybody has an understanding of art. You can look at a pretty picture, but what does it say? What does it mean? What is cubism? What is impressionistic art? What is modern art? I mean, there are all kinds. So fashion is like that. Fashion has very many different identities. Unfortunately, over here we are a very geek-oriented society. So if one girl puts highlights in her hair, then that whole group of friends will all look the same. They all dress the same. They all have the same bag. It's a generic identity that screams money. There's no sense of personal style. Everybody has the same bag. Everybody has the same nose. Nothing is bad. Everything is beautiful. Everything is lovely. Nobody says that this is rubbish. This is crap. This is a copy. Nobody says the truth.
I think it's kind of become a little superficial in the sense that yes, there seems to be a physical criteria of being, thin, tall, pretty. I think what has changed is that earlier, in the 80s, and this is in Pakistan and internationally also, you were looking for girls that had a lot of character, that had a lot of presence, that would stand out and be remembered,
Yeah.
Now it seems to be like a very uniform look where everybody's looking the same, everybody wants the same hairstyle, everybody wants the same kind of look, the same kind of clothes. In my time, it was about being different, about standing out. So I think that's the kind of change that I noticed.
I'm an emerging model and I'm doing my studies side by side. I started my career 5 years ago, and I work for Glitters and Atma's collection, and some brands like that. And I'm doing work right now with another emerging brand. और बस ये काम चल रहे हैं.
According to me, a model should be tall, who's with them, and in general, people prefer models who are white. That's kind of racist, but that's actually true.
वेट ज्यादा है जिसका वो नहीं, उनको कपड़े नहीं फिट आएंगे यार, डिजाइनर के कपड़े नहीं फिट आएंगे. मेरा वेट थोड़ा ज्यादा नहीं.
हाँ, only 55 kg.
Only 55.
Honestly, जब मॉडल थोड़ी सी भी होता है हैवी, तो कैमरा जो है ना 10 पाउंड तो वैसे भी खिलाता है आपको.
I like her
स्टिल शॉट्स, वो पुरानी शॉट्स जो लगाई हैं, वेरी नाइस.
super skinny, just perfect ramp model.
ये वही है कि हाइट की वजह से और पर्सनालिटी ना होने की
किलो भी
वजह
गिराने हैं मैडम.
हाँ, नहीं, इनका वही था ना, नीचे से इतना बड़ा पेयर शेप.
से मेरे तरफ से तो इंस्टेंटली नो था, बिकॉज बहुत हैवी थे.
I think it goes without saying for either a male or a female, or even otherwise socially also. I think the slimmer the better, because of the reason the clothes suit you also, and then you look better, and of course in the pictures you look better also, and health-wise also it's good to be on the slimmer side.
When we started तो हम जब आए तो उन्होंने कहा जी आपने मॉडलिंग करनी है ओके यार हफ्ते बाद करेंगे हम शूट आप लोगों का आपके बालों पे काम कर रहे हैं आपको पतला होना चाहिए आपके फीचर्स और एनहांस होने चाहिए दिस इज़ नॉट गुड और ये और वो तो शुरू में लगा यार ये क्या कह रहे हैं तो इवन आई स्टिल नो मेनी गर्ल्स जो बेचारियाँ नहीं कर सकी ये टास्क वो हमें हफ्ते का टास्क मिलता है कि जी हफ्ते में आपका वेट इतना है तो इतना हो जाना चाहिए इतने आपके बाल ये हैं तो आपके बाल में कलर वॉल्यूम फ्लाफा ये सब कुछ हो जाना चाहिए तो अगर हम एक हफ्ते तक वो सब कुछ नहीं करके आते सो वी आर डिस्क्वालीफाइड फॉर द पर्टिकुलर जो भी प्रोजेक्ट वगैरह जो भी होता है सो नॉट इन वन प्लेस इन एवरी प्लेस आपको ये बात होती है कि जी डाइट ऐसे खाएं ये करें वो करें ताकि आप पतले रहें और शेप में रहें खाने में नो फैटनिंग थिंग इज़ रिक्वायर्ड वो हम खा भी नहीं सकते और कोई खाने भी नहीं देता कि हम सेट पर चले जाए तो उनको तो मॉडल हमारी ख़राब हो जाएगी तो वो खाने भी नहीं देते सो दैट्स
I do know that we had a fashion show. Madam Carvan had come down to show her collection, and she wanted to select Pakistani models. And a lot of girls just did not qualify because they didn't, have the right measurements. And the thing is that the camera does make you put on 20-25 pounds. So there is an ideal weight where you will look good in front of the camera. But of course, I mean, taking it to the extent of being anorexic or unhealthy is never a good option because your skin is going to suffer, you're going to pull down. It has to be, you have to look healthy and be thin.
Wants to be a size zero. Look, fashion is for thin 18-year-old, 18 to it's a very short-lived industry. So you have at a certain age you have the perfect dimensions. Unfortunately over here everybody is 5'2" with 6-inch heels so that they're 5'8". I mean, you need to be 5'8" and Kate Moss and then you get them. Otherwise, it's 5'10" is the international standard height for models. So we are fueling, people are paying lakhs and lakhs for portfolio. I would just say, beta, you are short, you can't be more without this. But nobody says that. Everybody is like, now you pay for everything. There's no editorial content left. There's no editorial voice left in this country. In any of the magazines, the print media, you pay and you get on the cover. What cover would you like to come on? Just loving it.
Women are, and not just models, I think women in general are going to extremes now to achieve a beauty ideal. Right? So whether it's dieting, unhealthy ways of dieting or dieting pills, or taking different things that may actually damage you a lot in the future. And not only that, I mean, you look at Botox, you look at that lip thing that they're doing, extensions and fake eyelashes. I mean, it's gone to an extreme, where you're willing to go to any expense at any cost, and where does it end? And what are you going to end up looking like when you interfered so much with nature?
I think the media is creating all the girls into monsters. I think it pushes you to, it sexualizes you very early in life, and all this thing, sort of wanting to look older and present yourself much more grown up physically is peer pressure. I think a lot of girls are under a lot of peer pressure because that is the demand of what society wants, what the media tells you. Even I've seen mothers pushing their daughters into, why don't you dress like this and why don't you dress like that? Big issue all over the world now of the ending the size zero model. You're not allowed to do it. it's a good thing. I think our models are, they're all skinny, but none of them are healthy.
According to today's beauty standards, they're very artificial. Whoever wears the most makeup, whoever contours the most is considered pretty. And then again, anorexic women are considered pretty. Women who have zero fat, women who can't eat, women who are actually suffering from serious medical conditions because they starve themselves just so they can appear beautiful on camera.
We didn't have Photoshop.
Yeah.
We didn't have Botox and those plumping things, and so to look good in front of the camera, you have to naturally be very, very good looking.
We make our own rules. We make our own, ऐसे कर लो, हाँ ठीक है ऐसे कर लो. There's no such thing. There's no face polish. What is face polish? Hello. What is face polish? I want to know what it is. What is it? Say it's bleaching. You're going to bleach your face.
There's another group of people that is looking for pure talent, right? So you don't have to be the most perfect featured person, but if you can own the camera, if you can engage with the camera, if you have a spark, that's something to work on. Someone pretty will not necessarily be a good model. Okay, being photogenic, being able to relate to the camera is very different from a pretty girl you see on the street, right? There's certain girls who may not look, perfect, but will be able to bring something to their photograph, a presence, and I think that is something that we need to bring back from the perspective of more, fashion people looking for that kind of energy and that kind of talent, and more of that talent sort of coming into the limelight.
Like I said, there's no editorial voice left in this country. So we have, it's a dhanda now. Fashion has become a bit of a dirty dhanda. But like, that's why I'm not involved in the industry. As I just do my own thing whenever I'm needed, and I know I can deliver that thing. And I'm very fortunate that I only do the kind of work that I enjoy doing.
Right now that I understand is that our fashion magazines or fashion publications no longer have any editorials. It's all paid content. So if there's a shoot, okay, in our days the magazine used to pay the model or the photographer and have the creative say in what they wanted to present in that editorial, right?
Yeah.
Now the designers are basically paying the magazine, paying the models, so it's paid ads. We don't have fashion editorials anymore. We have magazines full of paid ads.
Wow.
Even the cover is going for a price. So,
Yeah.
who's judging if this is complete nonsense or whether it has any value? So I think that fashion today has become too commercialized and too much of a business. Whereas in my time, it was about people with a lot of creativity and passion who wanted to challenge the society that we were growing up with and actually contribute. And I think that we need somehow to bring that kind of creativity and passion and integrity back into the business of fashion and beauty.
Madam ne sikhaya, like who's madam and why are you doing this? So there's no anybody can be a model, anybody can be a photographer, anybody can be anything that they want to do, because that is what allows you to the newfound individualism which has come out with social media and Facebook and Twitter and Snapchat, and I have better things to do in the day than to sit in front of the camera and pout my lips all day long.
We need people as mentors to come in and bring in this kind of energy. I mean, a lot of times people sort of have approached me and said, why don't you open a modeling agency and get involved? Me personally, I've got too much else going on, and also I think it's a huge responsibility to be responsible for 200, 500 girls. Is for me a very difficult responsibility to take on. But definitely, we have people who have a vision, who have creativity, who have integrity, and they need to really come back and start contributing more. It seems that the modeling scene has kind of been hijacked by a few people, and their work is everywhere, and a lot of the creative people are just kind of doing their own thing on the sideline. I think there's just a lot of pressure, in our time you could get respect from different things, right? So you would be respected if you were really intelligent, if you were a good debater, if you were a good sports person, if you were strong, if you had a point of view. Those were all qualities, that we were aspiring to, right? Now, when it's so much more focused on, if you don't have the right look, you're not acceptable. So I think it's definitely making the younger generation more superficial, more I don't know, more unhappy with who they are, perhaps, or not being able to accept and take ownership.
My first thing is, what do we want in our lives, and the answer is more. Bigger hair, bigger lips, thinner waist, just more.